We as students will reclaim our power on campus. We will take back our universities, and we will not stop until our universities divest and Palestine is free.
I came out here today. This is my first time out here to see the encampment. Very, what should I say, excited to see that folks are committing to sacrificing the usual because of what's going on in Palestine, in Gaza. The Israeli occupation forces, they continue to kill families, wipe out families. And so I'm here to support them.
Since October 7th, more than 35,000 Palestinians have been killed. That is a number that the Palestinian Health Ministry has to share with an asterisk. 70% of that number are women and children. Now that is important to say, but it's not the most important to say because our men count as well.
This isn't something for me that I got involved in. This is something I was born into as an Arab and a Muslim. I knew about Palestine before I even entered school. It's something that we live with. It's something that we have to understand. It's the wars we have been experiencing and watching the wars on Gaza for as long as I remember. Every couple of years there's a war. Every year there's some sort of bombing. There's a great march of return. So it's something that becomes a way of life for us rather than just a movement one joins.
Today is day 203. In the past 24 hours, 51 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed. In the past 24 hours in Gaza, rising temperatures worsens the conditions of displaced Palestinians in Rafah. There are now 1.2 million Palestinians in an area that is smaller than Oakland. Any bomb paid for by you that falls on Rafah today will kill a minimum of 100 people. 100 people that we might never know their names, they might never count in any register. Palestinians can narrate massacres that can go all the way back to 1948 that have been done by the Zionist entity and take over land that was not theirs through these massacres. These are realities that the Israeli occupation forces are hoping will happen in Gaza. Every single hospital in Gaza has been bombed, meaning that only 2 are functioning and barely functioning, and only functioning by the sheer will and determination of doctors, nurses who are volunteering in administrators' emails that they send out to condemn students who camp, students who protest, students who speak out, faculty who speak out, people who speak out. It is clear that a new generation is rising that will no longer accept Zionism, racism, and genocide, and that stands with Palestine and our liberation from the river to the sea.
Like, as you see when you walk around this tent, it's a diverse coalition of people, and this is what UC Berkeley Divest is. It's 75 organizations that came together and signed a letter, and it's growing. It represents about 7,000 students, faculty, and staff, all demanding that this university divest.
Well, a friend of mine, an academic, talks about confabulation. Confabulating Jewishness with Zionism. I think that is, we're seeing how that's being challenged by Jewish folks.
I personally fear that this activity is actually slowing down peace in the world. If you pay attention to news carefully outside of this conflict, you'll know that in the last 6 months, there were a number of terrible crimes against humanity. Right nearby to Israel, Armenia, the Nagorno-Karabakh region was taken back by Azerbaijan, which has its own complex history, but you don't see people here protesting that. And also, there are geopolitical alliances that are important to the West, actually, that prevent Israel and the West actually from getting involved in Armenia. For that reason, it's a blind spot for the world. This is just one of many blind spots. And so, actually, I think that these protests are very hyper-focused on one issue, and they need to get to the real problem, which is that people are unsafe all over the world, not just in Palestine and not just in Israel.
They have refused to recognize a pattern that hundreds of Palestinian writers, journalists, academics, and of course students have been murdered. This is not just a series of isolated incidents. This is a pattern. This is what genocide looks like.
So I'm Jewish, and there's a whole hysteria about anti-Semitism, and to me that's a distraction first and foremost from the true roots of Judaism, which is about justice and peace. And the Israeli state, the Zionist Israeli state, is a very different thing to me. I mean, this is an extremist, conservative, violent project that is actually about the weapons trade.
At the same time, these same universities invest in the same companies that profit from the continued sale of weapons to the Zionist regime to continue its genocidal offense.
There's a state of power at play. Of course, right now there are people in Israel who can't rest because they're serving their country in war, and that's, it's very sad.
As a Jew, I don't think we can have, we cannot actually rid the world of anti-Semitism until we have Palestinian liberation. We cannot rid the world of persecution until first and foremost we call out the persecutions that's being caused in our name.
We are really seeing the intersection of the power of this political lobby, of the Zionist lobby, and the corporate university. So demanding that your university speak. I mean, Berkeley, right? Its brand is revolution. So many of you, I think, probably chose to study here or teach here to be part of this storied tradition.
And I think it's natural in the current environment in the world to find something that really you connect to for something in your identity, something that's in your own psychological shadow. And I think that, I notice that people tend to come down on the line, on the side that most closely aligns to how they see themselves.
So this protest here at UC Berkeley is extraordinary in the empathy, the collaboration, the peace-building work, just the love of young people coming together in rage, in grief, in sorrow, in complete and utter dismay that in 2024 we are witnessing a genocide, multiple genocides in fact.
One of the things that we've been hearing for so long about why there's something wrong with the academic and cultural boycott is this idea that somehow by engaging in these supposedly liberal institutions, we are going to support the best part of Israeli society. But in fact, what we're seeing is because of these deep entanglements, our institutions are becoming more repressive, less tolerant of discourse, more hypocritical, and we're seeing this extraordinary violence that has been inflicted on students and faculty at so many institutions in this country. So whatever that theory is, that by engaging, it's going to make these institutions somehow stronger and more liberal or whatever it is, this is a fantasy. It's absolutely entangled.